In negotiation, individuals are often concerned with power, the power to get what they want and the power to make others bend to their will. Although we can think about power in a variety of ways, scholars tend to think about power in negotiation through the lens of power dependence theory. According to power dependence theory, the more your partners depend on you, the stronger your bargaining position. And the less you depend on your partners, the stronger you and your position becomes. As such, experts have long been arguing that one way to increase your power when negotiating is to get better alternatives in order to force a focal agreement to either beat or match your next best option. In particular, negotiation experts agree that you should secure a specific and realistic alternative in order to know how far you can push. This alternative provides information about the next best deal should a focal bargain fail. As an example, if you have a job offer with a salary of $100,000 a year in hand, you can bargain with another company to get an even higher salary because you know that if negotiations fail, you have a secure position to fall back on. If, however, you have a weak alternative, or worse, no alternative, you might have to be a bit more careful when you bargain because you might not be able to take no for an answer. So, hopefully, you understand that having a specific and realistic alternative to a focal deal is important. If you have studied negotiation in the past, then you know that this idea is not new. It is often called a BATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Although most negotiation experts know they are important, people really don't know whether or not you should share yours with a negotiation partner. To be fair, some experts will say that you should share your alternative with your partner because it gives them a sense of the power that you possess. But is this really such a good idea? At Calidus, we created a study published in the academic journal Communication Studies to examine whether or not sharing your alternative would result in better or worse deals for negotiators compared to keeping this a secret. In particular, we had two groups of people participate in an experiment where they negotiated against real partners in order to buy a hypothetical pair of sunglasses that they were told they could get elsewhere for $60. The goal was to try to negotiate to see if negotiators could buy these sunglasses for a price that was better than their $60 alternative. One group was instructed to share their alternative with their partners, and one group was not. After we ran our experiment, we examined results from 92 pairs of participants. That's 184 negotiators in total. And what did we find? Well, it turns out that people who shared their alternative with their partners were able to buy the sunglasses for about $58. That's $2 less than their alternative. Sounds great, right? But what about the people who did not share their alternative? Well, they were able to buy the sunglasses for even less. $54. That's about a 10% improvement over the group of sharers. So what's going on? As we argue in the paper, having an alternative is a good way to increase your power when negotiating. Both groups of negotiators were able to bargain harder and to secure a deal that was better than their next best option. But it appears that people who shared this alternative actually performed worse compared to people who were instructed to keep this information secret. Why would that be? There are two reasons why we found that sharing your alternative might not be the best idea when negotiating. First, by sharing your alternative, you give your partner an informational advantage insofar as you give the other party information about how far they can push you. Essentially, by telling people about your next best offer, you reveal your bottom line and you let them know the point at which you will walk away to pursue your alternative. So, all they have to do is barely beat your next best offer, and once that figure has been beaten, they know they can stop negotiating. In the case of our study, although sellers knew they had to beat $60 if they wanted to sell the sunglasses, they also knew that they did not need to do so by much. In fact, recall that the average price paid in the group of people who shared their alternative was $58, a number just shy of the $60 alternative. On the other hand, we argue that by keeping this information secret, negotiators force their partners to guess about where they need to stop negotiating in order to make a deal. And because people are usually bad at guessing, they're likely to negotiate more when they do not have full information. This translates to giving you a better price. And this is especially true if you bargain aggressively. The second reason why sharing your alternative might not be a good idea is because we found that negotiators who were given information about their partner's alternatives became more defensive and engaged in more hard bargaining tactics to secure better deals for themselves. In essence, by revealing the exact nature of their alternatives, people created a more competitive environment that led to more aggressive bargaining from their partners. So, what's our advice? At Calidus, we recommend that negotiators get alternatives to give themselves the power to demand more when bargaining with others. However, we also recommend that, with some exceptions, negotiators keep the exact nature of these alternatives a secret. This advice gives you the advantage of knowing how far you can push without providing this information to partners who might exploit it.